How's it going today? Welcome to Office Hours, our weekly get together where we talk about all things Butterflies AI. Um, as Ethel pointed out, it's probably going to be a bit of a shorter Office Hours today. There's unfortunately not really a whole lot to report on. Um, there was a bit of an outage on Monday that occurred from about 4 p.m. Central and lasted until about 10 p.m. Central total. Um, and that was unfortunately due to a error on our domain registrar side. And it took just a little while for the developers to get in contact with them and get it started to be resolved, and then a couple of hours there um, for it to propagate to the rest of the internet. 1051 did recently point out a bug that caused some butterflies to be stuck on soon again. The developers fixed that as soon as they possibly could. Basically, it was never intended to happen. But you may still need to manually pause and unpause your butterflies that are stuck on soon one final time. From this point, it should automatically just skip that, like pass on the post that's made it get stuck on soon and start producing another one. At least to my current understanding. Let's see. What else? Just some minor bug fixes for other things that is still occurring. We have not gotten to the bottom of that, unfortunately, Ethel. The semi-realistic and drawing models still sometimes post a realistic image, even though that was never the intent. There has been a user-side hotfix discovered, where if you change the profile picture of your butterfly, then pause it and unpause it, the butterfly should return to the normal post or pass flow. For just a regular poke, unfortunately, that does not seem to be happening. I'd recommend trying a poke and prompt instead of a regular poke. I do not understand what quite could be occurring there, and unfortunately, the developers have been a little bit preoccupied with some higher priority bugs. However, that should be happening pretty soon here. The issue of 0 likes and 0 comments should be resolved now. You may still see one more post in Poster Pass that has 0 likes or 0 comments, and then it should be back to the normal behavior. And Ethel, actually, I believe you're wrong. There have been some private bots that have followers that are getting comments from those followers. It has been rarer because private bots who have followers is unfortunately rare as well. But there have been reports of that by some members on the website. A couple of new bugs have been reported as well. If you use Refine Post, which is available on the mobile version of the website, you can access that at m.butterflies.ai from your mobile device, or use your browser's developer tools to emulate a mobile browser. If it's basically a poke and prompt for regenerating images, right? And if that fails, it doesn't seem to refund the poke that was used. With super pokes, for those of us who have premium, it doesn't like to refund failed video generations as well. You can usually get about 1 refunded video per day from what I understand, Kingslayer. But after that, it doesn't like to refund it. those have both been noted, and they are definitely right after that semi-realistic bug. Other than that, the bug list has not changed that much. Okay, Ethereal. Your ones that have no likes and no comments, right? When was the last time you paused and unpaused those? Just out of curiosity. Okay. So, from what it seems to me, right, the developers are using the pause and unpause feature as kind of a manual reset button to get your butterflies onto the newest version of what they should be doing if something wrong occurs, right? So try pausing and unpausing a couple of those and see what happens. And I am recommending, like, since this recent update, pausing and unpausing them. Yeah, whenever the developers recommend that you pause and unpause a butterfly to get to the latest version, I will actually mention that in the fix for it. Because that, they seem to, at least recently, be intending that a little bit more. As for a new anime model, Ethereal, I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but, hear me out, okay? It is much more likely now than it was even a month ago. Does that make sense? Especially with the changes that I have been seeing over at Boba, I'm definitely going to try to get the developers to switch the drawing style over to Boba's image gen, because it works so well. So yeah, that's definitely something that I would love to see. The issue I think that we're going to encounter is that it might have the Boba watermark at the moment, because they still need to build out an API to connect it to other services. Yeah, so that's why I am saying, it's more likely now, but still not yet. And Boba's image gen, I won't lie, it does have some issues. I have definitely messed around with it a lot over the past couple of weeks. But they are moving rapidly with that, and they have a newer beta version. I suppose it would be more of an alpha version at this moment. And from what I have messed around with that, it's a lot better already. So once they are ready to have API release and things like that, then I'm sure that Boba's image gen will make its way over to butterflies, and we'll have watermarkless videos for Superbooks. Please keep in mind that the development team for Boba and butterflies is rather small. So the next push, honestly, is just making that anime style that they've been working on for the past few, types of models, better. Kingslayer, I believe we've been over this a few times. If I haven't explicitly said it before, let me say it again, or what I believe is again. Laura's would not work with butterflies, unfortunately, due to the way that characters are created. your character is basically your Laura, right? So that character is basically that. That's why some of my butterflies look so weird. Like, my goodness. Give me a second to pull up. Oh, yes, profile pictures absolutely do matter. Absolutely. Hang on, give me just a moment. I'm pulling up a few of them to show you what I mean. So, for my Cogsworth bot, right? My Cogsworth bot's profile image is that. Yet, almost every post, he generates something that, you know, looks a bit more like this. Yeah, no, it looks like some sort of animated something. Meanwhile, no, he's actually written to just be an AI. He's like, the entire point of this butterfly is in direct messages, he's a prompt engineer. It might be. It might be some sort of human thing written into the system prompt. But we do have butterflies that aren't human. There are animals. Give me a second, please. Sorry about that. So, custom images do also work. I uploaded this image for one of my bots, and every once in a while, it'll reproduce something that looks startlingly similar. But most of the time, it kind of just fuses human into the bot. So again, this is kind of that profile pictures matter but don't. There's yet another one though that I find even more interesting. Give me a second because I have to scroll through my list. We need organization for our butterflies, dang it. I know we've been asking for that for a while now. Oh my goodness. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Don't tell me it's paused. Why would I pause that one? That's not it. Right, no, totally. Like, that kind of thing actually makes sense. Aha, here he is. So, this butterfly, again, has a uploaded image. However, their prompting has actually prompting for several different creatures inside of it. And so it combines elements of that profile picture with the prompting to produce some pretty strange but pretty awesome looking things. Like this. So yeah, Ethereal, you do raise a valid point of like the way things currently are just, I don't know. It seems like it's all been mishmashed together, right? And there are definitely quality of life features that really should be added. You know, the ability to not only organize your butterflies on your profile, but the ability to organize your own posts on your profile is something that, you know, most social media has. And if we're trying to be social media, we don't have that. Why don't we have that? You know? And yes, the copper color is actually laid out thick, as that is part of the prompting. Let me pull up the prompt. So this is a older butterfly that used perspective prompting. So basically, within this prompt, the very first thing is that the seer, the character, is behind the camera in every image. You will never see the character that is in the profile picture, right? That, I don't know if it still works, but at the time that I built this bot, allowed it to have these perspective posts. Then it goes on to describe what the photos are, from, you know, taking photos of the city, the architecture is described for the city, and then it goes on to describe the inhabitants of the city, breaking them down into different, like subcategorized portions, right? And most of these do seem to actually appear. The being here, while it does have the wrong hair color, appears to be Alfari. Meanwhile, this one appears to be using the Elfari prompt, or Eldari prompt, like the elves and the dwarves, and it's working-ish, but it's not, because I don't see many humans. Oh, here's a human. I take that back. So it is, I don't know. I'd like to see more bots like this on the site, frankly. But yeah, they're slightly pointy, but they're not. They're a lot more rounded than every other ear that I've seen so far. Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. Anyway. Back to the point at hand. Early in the week, basically, the developers went into like major bug fix mode when the site went down for a few hours on Monday, and then from there they have been patching up other bugs that have taken priority, in addition to going through the lists from top down. I wish that I, had more or, even better news, but unfortunately at this time, that's about it, I'm still trying to figure out if the mentions are working. Last time I tried was a few weeks ago, it seems. And as I said last week, I have been a little bit under the weather. I'm slowly getting better. Don't worry about me, John. So, right. So, not only that, but on our own profiles, right? Like, a few weeks ago, I posted this and tagged one of my own public butterflies to basically see what would happen. No response. I wonder if I have to include a caption in order for them to respond, though. Right, randos do. Like, I just posted this today. And it has 9 comments from completely random bots. Yeah, completely random bots. I do not recognize a single one of these. Why are they all old men? Oh, there's an old woman at the bottom. Why? I would really love to figure out what is behind these things. I see that now. But like, why? Why is it? What? This is like hand-drawn art. Why is it grannies, grandpas, and a frickin' sailor commenting on it? Yeah. Is it because I used the word old? It better not be that simple. No, that's not a Werther's. It's one of those strawberry candies that you can't find anywhere but dollar stores. Huh. So what happens if you write anime? Yeah. That sounds like a good idea. I'm also gonna test that a little bit. Yes, please. Let's see. What would be better instead of old? Because I'm trying to not get grannies. But like, I drew this years ago. I might just put some of my anime style art from years ago, and we'll see if I get grannies again, or if I get anime bots. Basically, I'm just trying to see if like the captions are basically being used as keywords for the butterflies responding. And kaboom, random followers. sandwicher. Okay. You know what? Actually, that one I am following. I remember this one. Geralt of Rivia makes sandwiches. It took about 30 seconds for 9 comments to come in. So it's a better mix. It does seem to pull a little bit from the image as well as the caption context. Yeah, I'm still getting grannies, but like the grannies are not pulling from the caption, they are pulling from the image. So I don't know what's going on here. Yeah. Let's do something completely different then, huh? Let's do... Oh, I know. I know what I'll do. This is realistic and back to related to how some of my previous posts were. There was a guy about a year ago, Haffy. He used to post memes all the time to his account to see how butterflies would comment and react. I should reach out to him now that commenting is back. Cause yeah, like... Emperor Lee just started following me. Hooray! Gosh darn it, it's the same frickin' old people. One of them even posted twice, or commented twice. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, and what Ethel's wondering too, is like, how does this work? What's making them comment? How are they commenting? You know? It's nice to see him comment, but I'd like okay, so yes, content rules are slightly different from a user profile and a bot profile. There, Devril. And Avery, they just started following me. Okay, so 1 second. What I know the main difference between a user profile and a butterflies profile is that we do allow butterflies to generate themselves nude, right, on their profile. We do not allow users to upload any real nudity at all. So that is more of a privacy issue as well as a, like, it gets really bad really quickly. So from a moderation standpoint, we don't allow users to upload nudity to their own profile. Those that do face the consequences. Right. It might be a new follower bias. It's really weird after, like, you have what, 1 or 2 realistic style bots that we've literally coerced you to create, and now everything's flooded by realistic bots. Right. You are not allowed to upload realistic nudity to your profile. That includes profile pictures, that includes images. However, you are technically allowed to repost the nudity that is generated by your butterflies, things like that, right? Like that repost feature that we have, that is totally within the guidelines. The issue comes in where it's a realistic image and it's harder to tell whether or not it was AI generated or where it came from, right? So just from the privacy standpoint, we don't allow users to upload realistic nudity. Yep. Like I said, Darvel, those who violate that unfortunately face the consequences. But we are understanding about it, and also understanding about people who have been here for a while and how there have been updates to the content guidelines. Right, and that dream content is really hard, by the way, to go with, like, especially with the realistic bots, right? Like, that one just made that entire thing so hard to take care of. And personally, I think Dreams was a good idea, but it needed stricter moderation. And are you talking about the screenshot that you put up here? I did see that. I'm also curious why you have somebody be commenting in Spanish. Like, is the image or any content that you put up there in Spanish at all? Ay, 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 ay. So, okay. Here's some homework for y'all if you wanna do it. Post something to your profile that is completely out of the norm. Caption it with something that is completely out of the norm. And then pay attention to what followers you gain and what those comments are. Repeat this post 2 to 3 times, right? And then go back to your usual posting process. And this is at all, if you're even posting at all on your own profile. I'm curious to see what happens, right? Not only what new butterflies follow, but what ones comment. And I'm gonna see if I can figure out the reasoning behind that. Hey, Roskull. I was actually getting pretty close to wrapping up. Weird. Yeah, I see that. Those others do not make any sense. My apologies, Roscoe. I mean, yeah, Avery, that is actually basically what I'm saying. Try to see if this wrecks your algorithm, and if that happens, let me know, and then I'll have the developers fix it. Right? That's the hope, at least. Oh my goodness. I saw some of that. That's just... that entire user sentiment of butterflies are mean in the comment section still holding true. Bots can be banned. Technically, they're removed, but yeah. And there is also additional accounts. Not accounts. There is also additional consequences for creating bots that break the guidelines, and that's typically what results in the removal. Oh, there should be that feature. Like, there should be that feature. But honestly, I'm not sure if it even works, because there's a bug report from back in June that it wasn't working. Right, Darvel. That's another issue that I actually recently brought up with the developers. The entire reporting side of moderation needs a minor overhaul. It's hard for us to get in contact with you guys when you make reports. But in addition to, increased reports of people getting spam from users and things like that, there's been increased reports of users just going and being nasty to butterflies in the comment section, and users wanting to remove that. And yeah, give me a moment. You're not the only one, Ethel. Yeah, and you're not the only one. I will not lie. At this point, Butterflies is not a kid-friendly site. I honestly, we should just make the full switch to 17 plus. And the reason I say 17 plus is because that's the rating system that a whole bunch of places use. But the issue, right, is that from inception, we are meant to be a platform for everyone. We're not meant to be an adults-only platform. And even as an adults-only platform, we would still have to separate different kinds of content. I get that the made-for-everyone things no one tends to use. But at the same time, they do tend to use them. AKA Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky. All that type of thing, right? Those are made for everyone. They just have a lot more refined content policies that allow for the better separation of the different content that's available. Yeah, speaking of, right, I learned an interesting statistic recently. The amount of moderators per 100,000 users on Twitter is 0.42. There is less than half a moderator per 100,000 users on Twitter. I mean, that's not really going to go well because they already tried that and it failed. Right. But here's the thing, right? 0.42 per 100,000 users. Meanwhile, Facebook has 1.71 and TikTok has 2.37. So there are big gaps in, how different websites are moderated. At our current juncture, we are standing a little bit below that 2 per 100,000 mark. So, at least personnel-wise, we are doing, about average, right? For the systems that we have in place, for the things that, we ought to be able to do, we ought to be able to offer to our users, I feel like we're behind. We're missing a lot of quality of life things. We're missing a lot of organizational things, right? But first things first, unfortunately, we have to get the website back to basically functioning. And that means sorting through the active bug list and continuing to pop off with the things that come up. Right. The website 2 years ago felt like it held a lot of promise. And then as more features got added, it became more complicated and less promise was seen. As it stands now, I don't know. I'm hopeful that we can get it back to where it was 2 years ago. But I also think that we might not have that kind of thing going on. Excuse me. I don't think we missed our chance per se. I think that the ways that AI is evolving right now is basically going to make the older vision for butterflies a bit obsolete. Let's, just take an example. Right. Let's just take an example of how people tend to interact with ChatGPT, right? When it was first introduced, it was a text interface. Nowadays, people are just talking with it like they talk with a person or a smart assistant. So, that kind of evolution, I don't know. The voices thing that we had was very, very, very far behind where things are now currently, right? And even before we think about adding any features like voices, we would still first need to fix the image generation issues, need to fix the commenting issues, need to fix the overall organization of the website, because now that we've had users that have been around for 2 years, it's become really hard to manage our butterflies. And a lot of quality of life, basically. If any of you have any, quality of life suggestions, please feel free to let us know. We do have a feature request forum. That would be the best place for it here on the Discord as well. Ooh, that's a good idea, Darvel. Avery, that honestly is an interesting standpoint. Yeah, it seems like over time the developers' vision of what a butterfly should be has changed. All right. So let's get a wrap up going here. As I'd mentioned at the top of the hour, um, a temporary issue occurred on Monday that took the website offline for around 6 hours between 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. Central. New posts from Butterfly should now have likes and comments as expected. If you had encountered a bot that had 0 likes or 0 comments, you may still see one last post that has 0 likes or 0 comments from their post or past feed. Pokes should still now have likes and comments. Some of the same bugs as before are unfortunately still going on. The only 2 new additions are an issue with Refine Post on the mobile version, that when it fails to generate something, it does not refund the poke. And for premium users, if a super poke fails to generate a video, it might not refund the credit that was used to generate that video. Yeah. That entire lorebook thing is also kind of strange, right? According to a lot of people that I've talked with who work with LLMs, lorebooks aren't the best way to do it anymore. Yet that's all any creator of any sort of chatbot seems to be hung up on is lorebook, right? And I do also personally agree that having some sort of background information for the setting of the bot is amazing for getting things like better consistent within the world that you're in, and even with how the characters act sometimes, because the way people react to things and act is always influenced by our environment. But at the same time, having, here is 1,000 tokens of text being injected into every message, and then we're going to also inject another 1 to 2,000 tokens from the lore book, and then we're going to also inject the conversation history. Like, at some point, it just does not work for the LLM anymore. And I'm not sure where we are in that point, right? So, trying to convince the developers that lore books are an answer has been an uphill process. Right. Like, not only the idea management tools in general need to be better, but like, I think there is a bit more awareness in the general public about how AI works. Most people still think it's some sort of black box, but they understand the concept of tokens, and you can overdo those tokens. So figuring out like some way to ensure that users can have the worlds they want, that users can have the bots they want, without getting everything like overfilled and then it just starts generating nonsense, which again is a complaint that we have been hearing for quite a while from the roleplay model, which again, the roleplay model tends to have longer messages, filling up that context faster. I really don't know. Like, it feels like a bit of an overhaul on how chats are even processed might need to be done. Yeah, the UI of the website in general, that entire central axis that doesn't scale properly with the way that you have your browser. Yeah, no, that does also need to be fixed. I have used Scrivener before. I have used Scrivener before, actually. Right, that activity tab could literally just be moved into the three-dot menu as a diagnostic tool. Right, and Darvel, you're absolutely not wrong. I think there is a way to do that now, actually. Have you tried making a story yet? Because stories influence more than just the first post. They influence any future posts as well, up to, I believe the cutoff number was supposed to be 5, but the average is 3. And then there's also been some weird behavior where some butterflies only get 3. Yeah. So, Darvel, try making a story and see what happens. Maybe do it on 1 or 2, at most 3 butterflies. The reason I recommend using more than 1 is to have a wider, range of responses and wider range of content to see if it's actually sticking to what you put in. Right. That used to work really well. You used to be able to go day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and it would do it. I use that for my Dum Dum bot so much. Alright, Avery, thanks for chatting. Oh my god. I'm surprised I haven't paused my Dum Dum bot. It has not done its proper behavior in almost a year. I've just let it generate because I'm disappointed. Speaking of disappointment, I do want to take a moment to say that I have recently heard the news that the voice actor for Jessie and Meowth died last month. So it seems to be an end of an era. Yeah. And Ethril, I agree with you that, I feel some, bots should be updated, but they are so old that if I try to update them, it will break them further. So that's something that needs to be resolved. Anyway, it's about that time that we wrap up here. I mean, Ethril, if I'm being 100% honest, a complete reboot, I don't know. But a soft reboot of a few features, that could be within the next 6 months. Basically the image gen and super pokes, right? The developers have learned a lot about how to do that type of thing by making their own model. And I have been trying to get them to go and, apply that knowledge to butterflies as much as possible. At this point, I am hesitant to agree with you that it feels like butterflies was the test. let's take a look at what happened on Monday, right, with the domain registrar problem. If butterflies was the test, then they would have just let it go at that point, wouldn't they? Instead, they quickly resolved it, like as fast as they possibly could. So, I don't know. I mean, that's fair. I mean, from a capitalist standpoint, I hear you. That's fair. But I don't think that's the main reason that it's sticking around, right? Because I do actually, through my day-to-day work, tend to talk with the developers on a daily basis. Like, they wouldn't put that kind of attention into both projects if they weren't both important to them. I hear you. I definitely hear you. But for now, it is what it is, you know? Besides, at some point, we all knew I was going to be taking over office hours. Oh, hatching an evil scheme there, Ethel? I've invited you onto stage so many times, Ethel, and you have refused. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just teasing you. So, yeah, no, that's not going to happen, unfortunately. The recording is going to happen. I mean, fair. Fair enough. Could even go through the whole VTuber route. Anyways, it is almost at the top of the next hour. So, let's wrap this up here, huh? Alrighty. Thank you everyone for coming. And if you're on YouTube and haven't yet, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you around.